Hey, you. Yeah, you. What you doing? I know what I'm doing. I'm starting off right with Talking About the Blues podcast, baby.
What it is, good folks? You are now bluesing. We're talking about the blues, baby. And we have an American blues folk songstress and historian. And we're going to get into some real good conversation. Welcome, Miss Veronika Jackson.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be talking with you tonight.
It's a pleasure to be talking with you, sister. I'm actually excited. I just want to get right into it. Let's start with how your journey as a blues folk artist began.
Well, as an African American, sometimes when we express ourselves in singing, the blues just comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And I always liked folk music and started at an early age in my early adult life, enjoying folk music. But I tell you, it's the audiences that put me in that category as a blues singer, which I thought I was just doing some folk songs, playing my guitar, and but it was my expressions on how I perform a song that got me into the blues category. But what keeps me with the folk is because I love the storytelling of songs. I love folk music that tells stories, whether it's socially or about somebody's history, and I just intertwine it. And as I bring those two together with my picking my Piedmont style guitar and singing, it just came and it came together as a folk blues presence. Yeah.
I dig it, and I'm happy you brought that up because I'm going to ask you about that Piedmont guitar picking style.
Yeah, I tell you, and that's something that
It's not
I
easy.
did not study. That was my form of picking. Yes, I learned basic guitar picking. I used to hang out with a lot of folkies and singing a lot of folk songs, but over the years, I don't know where it came from. And then I was told one night I was doing a show with another gentleman down here in Georgia, and he said to me, "Oh, you do that Piedmont style guitar picking." Well, what that is instead of your fingers going down on the guitar strings, like a lot of people do flat picking,
Right.
and a lot of people use finger picks
Right.
and pick. Well, Veronika Jackson don't use a flat pick. She doesn't use finger picks. She uses her fingers. I like the feel of the strings of the guitar.
That's right.
And where the normal people on guitars, they are picking down and doing certain guitar picking. Well, I'm picking up. Piedmont style guitar picking picks up on the string instead of down on the string. And I just love it. It's almost like how James Taylor got his own little sound.
Yeah, he's one
I
of my
don't have
favorites.
to see James Taylor play a guitar, but I can hear, when I hear that guitar, I say, that's James Taylor. That's what I'm going to say. And with me, I can hear my guitar picking, and I say, oh, that's Veronika. It's just that clear. It's just that easy. It's clean.
I dig it.
Piedmont, it comes from the North Carolina era.
It does.
Where, yes, it's in that genre, in that vicinity of music.
Well, let me ask you, now that you brought up James Taylor, who is one of my favorites as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And you made it clear, as an African American woman, this is your lane. Women has faced a lot of discrimination in music in general, whether it was the blues, whether it was folk, funk, rock, even punk. right. How was your journey in terms of how were you received?
You know, when I was around my peers, when I first learned guitar and hanging out with artists, they heard something in my younger years when I was like early 20s that I did not hear or know. They were telling me then, Veronika, you're good, you know, we really enjoy your music. And I'm learning during this time. But you know what I discovered?
What's that?
That there were still people that had something going on in their hearts to where they couldn't receive me. As a musician, probably as a woman, being black, you know, there were artists that would say, don't put me behind Veronika. You know. See, I didn't take that to heart then. I didn't understand what was happening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So, Lamont, let me tell you what. Those things still happen. It hasn't gone anywhere. But thank God that there are still people who recognize what I do and give me the call. You hear what I'm saying?
I hear you.
It still happens. It hasn't gone anywhere as a woman, as a black woman, as a folk blues artist, because I'm so grass-rooted with what I do. There are not many women now, black women, doing my style.
Not at all.
There are women playing the folk guitar and singing. But I've been told I haven't heard nobody play traditional music like you, Veronika, in a long time.
You got that right. Well, see, now I'm happy you brought that up because I'm a firm believer that folk, blues, spiritual work songs, prison songs, if they're not the same thing, they're cut off the same thread.
Yes, that's right.
And one of the biggest folk stars or folk legends was also a blues legend as well as, I mean, this guy, he transcended genres. Leadbelly.
Oh, come on now, that's my man.
Right. So my point is asking you is, and I'm not being divisive. I want to get it out there because this is what talking about the blues is about, celebrating our heritage. This being a music that comes from our oppression, how does it feel, or how do you address when a male or a white male or a white woman gives you unkind, not even unkind, or unprofessional treatment?
I have to, at this day and age, at the years I've been doing this, it took me a while now to get to this point. It's not something that came overnight. It comes with maturity.
Right.
That's where you begin to understand that you're who you are, they're who they are, but you have to keep doing what's in your heart. Because I used to compare a lot now, Lamont. I used to compare a lot. And I've learned that doesn't help me any. You know, what I have to do is stay focused and stay on the track of what you're doing, what I'm doing, and my purpose. See, because I know that there's still people out there. It's a shame that people don't understand. It's enough for everybody. It's enough for everybody. And with what I'm doing, I would be a unique sound, something totally different than what a lot of people are doing. Because, see, there is so much deep culture in me.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much culture in me as a woman, as a black woman, spiritually, emotionally, you know, and when I express myself, it's been told over and over again, you're coming from somewhere deep within. I'm not just singing. See, so when people say no to me, you know, and I get no's, but that's all right. I get a lot of yeses, too.
That's right.
But the ones that I contact are my representative contact, and I'm still not getting those engagements. I've come to realize that's okay, Veronica, in due time.
Mm.
In due time, because if I sit and harbor and let what people think or say about me give me interpretation of who I am and that I'm not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
then that puts me under their feet,
Right.
and I dare not go there.
Right.
See,
I dig
but
it.
it took a minute for me to get there, though.
No, I'm with you. I have to ask this question not to because I can't be biased. You know what I mean? So I have to ask this question. Most black people don't realize folk music came out of blues and everything like we just discussed.
That's right.
So there's a body or a percentage of black folk, African Americans, that think folk music is white music. They don't even realize that hip hop is a branch of folk.
That's correct.
How, how do you address that, or how do you feel about that? First off,
Well, one thing I think is kind of sad that the African Americans are not studying their history more these days
mm.
in just about every genre.
Yeah.
I can remember when I first started, and I would take my guitar around my friends when we was having fun, and I'd pick up the guitar, and they would say, "Girl, go and sit down somewhere singing that country music." Well, it didn't bother me any because, it was so sad
Right.
that I would end up over across Central Avenue, which is the white community,
Mm.
in their little bars and in their clubs and in their dinner restaurants, singing for them, and they respecting what I'm doing.
Wow.
See, I've always liked folk music. I'm not ashamed to say today, I'm 63 years old,
God bless.
and I'm very thankful for that age. And when I was coming up, folk music was the thing.
Right.
We had rhythm and blues, we had folk music, and it was gospel.
Right.
Those things was hitting the chart big time. Then folk over the years has come to some other name.
Right.
Grammys don't recognize them anymore.
Mm.
These people are now, you might as well say they're all independent artists
You're right.
because they're not recognizing them on the music genre.
Right. They kind of gave you know how the industry does. So they coined it alternative rock.
Yes, yes. So when my people don't too much accept it, or they look and be surprised. I did a festival last year, the King Biscuit Blues Festival, and
Nice.
there was a gentleman in the audience, and he had been sitting at the they call it the front porch stage, which is put on by Delta Cultural Center.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman just stayed there because the Delta Culture Center had some of the best music going in the whole festival.
Mm.
And when I got up there and I performed, he knew I was going to perform. And later he told me, he said, I didn't expect that.
Wow.
Because a little bit of country, I kind of sound a little country blues.
Mm-hmm.
Then I picked up my banjo and played a few songs.
Mm.
Because that's who I am.
Well, I'm happy you brought that up because I was about to bring that up as well. Because I saw some of your moments with the banjo. It's really serious. What? Now I have a banjo. I wasn't ballsy enough to go full banjo.
I hear you.
But I think I'm gonna do it eventually because you guys are inspiring me. But nevertheless, how long? What inspired the banjo? Was it folk? Was it the Africanism of it, or you just resonated with the sound?
Well, you know what? Some years ago, I was at the North America Folk Alliance.
Mm.
And during that time, that's when all acoustic musicians go to this big conference for 3 or 4 days. They showcase
Mm-hmm.
and meet other people and network. Well, I met this guy there who was a friend of Pete Seeger.
Okay.
And Pete Seeger played the banjo.
Yes.
And this gentleman told me then, he said, the way you play your guitar, you can play the banjo.
Mm.
Now, this was an older white man. He had to be darn near in his 60s or close to 70 then.
Mm.
He said, and you could do that. Well, he said it, and it just went off the top of my head. I didn't think, no, don't come with me with no banjo.
I do.
That's not me. But then as I began to learn more, I said, that could be possible. But anyhow, I wasn't finna go out and buy one. That was not at the top of my list. But then I went home. I'm from Florida, and I went home, and I've got these friends who always have me over for dinner, and Naverne and Don. And Don went upstairs or went somewhere and came back, and he opened up this case, and it was a banjo.
Mm.
And his brother-in-law, kinfolk, was playing that banjo and everything. He really liked it, And I said, wow, that's pretty nice, Don. And he said, well, Veronika, that's yours.
Wow.
I say, really? And this banjo is a Baneri banjo, celebrated Baneri banjo, which was over 100 years old, and it was made for women only.
How you like that?
Hey, come on now. So you know what? I had to learn something on that thing because he done gave it to me.
That's right.
I can't sit and just let it do nothing,
Yeah.
And then I began to, get educated on the banjo, knowing that it came from West Africa, knowing that it's originally an African instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you know what? It's time for me to represent my culture.
All right now.
You hear what I'm saying?
I hear.
It's time for me to represent my culture. And that is a fun instrument.
Mm.
I really enjoy playing it.
Wow.
I
dig it.
And then sometimes I do that song, when the Saints go marching in,
Mm-hmm.
and I think about New Orleans, and they walking down the street, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm singing it, I'm visioning all that, so I'm smiling. I'm really bringing it on.
That's right. That's right. So wait, I have, again, you mentioned educate. Now, I see you do workshops and different things of that nature. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yes. You know what? My main purpose in doing workshops for basically, I would say, from 8th graders, 6th graders, 8th graders on up through adults, to educate them about the instruments, to educate them about the songs that I sing, where they come from, how I come about writing certain songs, and the history of the banjo, and the key is it gives me the opportunity to educate on a lot of issues, social issues, women issues, black issues, music. It gives me that opportunity to embrace a part of my culture and to share it with other people that don't know this stuff.
Right.
Young people, really African Americans, they really need to be educated and cultured on the grassroots of American music, which stems from the black man and folk music.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm not, you got me stuttering over here, because it's like, our people need to be educated on our own history.
That's correct. That is so true. That is so true. It's so funny that I think about the way things are going, and I'm not going political, but you'll be amazed of the people that's not taking the opportunity to be educated enough to go vote. I don't care who you vote for.
Right.
You
Right.
know, you had too many people lose their lives, got beat up, killed
Hung.
for this
Yeah.
opportunity, but people don't take it. So you know what I do? I take my song and I sing about Ada Dupree, who was a
Mm.
black lady. I wrote this song about a black lady who migrated to the Georgia-Alabama line, all her culture from Africa, and it was all black. But then when this lady died, the community had basically turned white, and they wouldn't let her be buried in that community.
Unbelievable.
I read that story in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I wrote a song about Ada Dupree. See? And it's a good, basic, clear song. And these things need to continually be done. And I'm a folk singer and a blues singer. If I don't keep with some of this, who's going to do it?
Right on.
Because right now it's not being done.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
You know, so, but I keep on, and I'm very excited and proud about who I am and how I've been gifted with this talent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I tell you, I take some of the well-known folk songs and I sing them, you know, but my history is to keep alive the American folk blues genre. That's my duty. That's my purpose.
As a black woman, you said that hard, and I'm with you. My fist is up right now.
Yes.
Well, you know, folk music has always been connected or coined as a social issue kind of music. So you just you just embody the actual style of the music, the call of the music, you know, and that's what it's about. And so with these workshops, I'd imagine, or actually, I'm not going to imagine anything. I'm going to ask you to give us a description of how these workshops play out.
Well, what happens is I give a little history on who I am, and I give history on how folk music arrived. Now, as I do a little of that, then what I will do is select certain songs that tell some history and certain songs that the audience can come in and participate in. Some like call back and response.
Right.
You know, and I also give them the opportunity, if they bold enough, being them young kids, to come up. And I'll tell them, like I wrote a song, a folk song, Ragman. And Ragman tells the story of this gentleman. Way back, they used to sell rags to make newspaper and make paper. They stopped doing that, and they started, you know, cutting down trees. But what happened is this ragman would come in my community, and here I was, a little girl, and I would run and hide. So what I do is I take that song, and I ask them to participate in it, and I would say, here is your part. Ragman, Ragman. And that's what he would say every Saturday with his wheelbarrow. So when I'm singing this song, I ask the children or the audience to come in with me on that Ragman. Well, that song tells a story. It gives them history of how paper used to be made.
That's right. That's right. That's
You see?
yeah. That's history. That's what it's about.
That's what it's about. It's about history. You know, and I do the same with the banjo. I'll tell them where it came from. I point out certain parts of it. You know, I let them know that really the Africans didn't finger pick. They was rhythmic. You know, we're a rhythmic people.
Right.
You know, so when they played the banjo, they was rhythmic,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what I will, and it just brings a lot of fun and laughter and joy,
Yes.
along with it, and I try to let them vision and picture things, but most of it is mostly educational and where they can come in and we can both enjoy singing songs together.
That's
Yeah.
groovy. That's really groovy. So,
Well, thank you very much, Lamont.
well, you know what? Thank you, because this is what we need. You know,
Yeah.
this is what we need. We need to see people who look like us doing this music, giving the history, and that's not a
Yeah.
discredit to anybody else, but it is just a fact.
That's right. That's right. You know.
Now, who?
It's so funny because I've done them for as the age group as small as 8-year-olds,
Mm,
and it was a private school sort of here in Georgia, and this teacher invited me to her classroom, and she said, Veronica, our kids are educated on the blues. We'd like you to come in and do some things. And I said, okay, I could do that. And do you know these 8th graders were well versed on the blues?
wow.
Well, the teacher had taught them, but their parents loved the blues.
That. Now, I have to ask, what were the children's ethnicities?
They were 99% white.
You see? And, I had to ask because I'm not surprised. I mean, it, white people love the blues.
They do.
I'm disappointed not because white people love the blues. I'm disappointed because I don't think, and I could be wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. That if it was a classroom full of African American children, I don't think they would know what's going on.
That's right. And they wouldn't be as attentive. It's kind of sad because a lot of young people now in the African American community, their focus is all bam bam.
Right.
It's not about being educated and learning something. It's more about making me move, making me clap my hands, not being educated in what's going on.
Right. Right.
And that's the sad part about it, but it's not their fault when it comes to young people.
No.
It's their parents.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
up to them to educate them and teach them. And if we don't teach, if we don't know our culture, it's a known fact. What they would say: if you don't know where you come from, how you know where you going?
That's right. That's right. Because I don't think nobody realizes who doesn't know what's going on, where we're going. So,
That's right.
So let me ask you, what or how, Betty, do you think we can rectify this situation? How can we reconnect our people to our heritage?
Well, I tell you what, like I say, first of all, it starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I find out that if the parents are not interested in it, because it's not being taught in school for what I understand.
Right.
When I was going to school as a kid, you heard a little about, it's Black history. You got, they do some stuff.
Right.
But I don't even know if they have Black cultural classes
Right.
in school anymore. But it's pride in who you are. If you can walk with pride, if you know who you are, then you are more eager to learn more about where you come from.
That's right.
But see, my mother taught me, she sat there when the water hose was being sprayed out there. We were looking at the news together.
Mm.
And when she was working and she was explaining to me certain aspects of how her life was going because of not having education or not having anyone to direct her, then I kind of looked and I listened and I learned. I just learned by her example.
Right.
And that's what a lot of kids are learning by people's examples, and they're looking at the wrong ones.
Wow.
See?
Yeah,
So,
you nailed it.
and I just feel even with artists, musicians, we've got the limelight, and I think that sometimes we can, say something in a good and positive way that would make a young person think,
Yes,
you know, what are you
absolutely.
doing? Where are your goals? What you want with life?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'll even add to that that as artists, we should be informing young and upcoming artists or whatever it is they want to get into that
Yeah,
it's a business. It's not just, show up, go on stage, and then go home with all the women or go home with all the men. It's
that's
really,
right.
it, it's, it, it's a business. It's a career. It's
It is,
plans,
you know.
paperwork.
Yeah. But see, a lot of them think, a lot of kids and young men, women, they look at these artists and they think that a lot of these artists got pocket full of money, but they don't realize a lot of them don't have no money. They look good.
Right.
I heard a gentleman say that there was a well-known artist came to him. Well, he was a minister. He said this guy came to him and said, "Would you help me?" He said, "I look like I got all this, but I ain't got nothing."
Oh
Now
boy.
he said, my pastor said it just like that in that southern dialect. The guy said, "I look like I got something, but I ain't got nothing." And see, that's what's the misconception, for a lot of young people. They think that's all glamour.
Right.
It's easy. But that's hard work to be up at the top of the pedestal like that.
Yes, it is.
You know, those people, whether they doing right or wrong, that took work. You got to sound good for the audience to want to listen to you.
Or at least be consistently performing.
That's correct.
Because you may not sound good, but whatever it is that got the people hypnotized, you got to be there when the people is there.
It's got to be consistent. That is true. That is true. I don't know. It's something we got a lot of work ahead of us when it comes to young people. And I try to, when I run across someone, I believe, and I think they can receive it, I try to impart something that's good. Hope that I can energize or put a thought in their minds
Right.
as to how to move forward and prevail in a good and positive way.
Right, because it's actually a strong reality to be able to move forward in a positive way,
That's correct.
even though that's not the way the story usually is told.
Yes, that's right. That is right. But the key is for them to be exposed to the positive.
Right.
But see, it's so much going on out there. They got the cell phones, they got the iPads, they got all that other stuff that's outer interior, but it is not helping their inner interior. And so what it's doing is their focus is, not on what would be
anything.
better for them, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault because they don't know folk music.
Right.
It's not their fault because they don't know the history of how music started. All they know is they like it.
Right.
And that's okay in that point, but it is it's a setback when you don't know the full capacity of where music came from.
Especially, yeah, because American music came. Well, we know where it came from, and they need to know too. Because I'm a strong believer in the fact that if a lot of artists knew where the music came from and what happened to our people in this process, I would have to believe that would change a lot of the decision making.
Anytime I get the opportunity to present my music to young people, young African Americans, that's what I want to do. Young people, period.
Yes.
Young people, period. Because it's just an enjoyable thing. I just enjoy it. I love it, and I'm appreciative that I was blessed to be able to play it. and to sing and to educate, all while I'm doing. Sometimes, you know what? When people hear my concert, I did a concert here at the library this past October, and the first time I had an all-black audience, and they came up to me and they said, "You know what? That was really enlightening. You helped me to some things I didn't even know. You educated me through your song."
That's beautiful.
And it makes me feel good, you know, that it was a positive, not just singing, but imparting in someone,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and still entertaining them.
Right. Exactly. You entertained them, and when they left with something.
They left with something. Yes,
That's a blessing. That's what it's all about.
it is. It is. It is. It is.
Who are some of your blues influences?
Okay. Well, you know, when I was a little girl, the first person I really enjoyed, my mother it's the first time I knew that she had a stereo. And she bought a stereo, and they gave her an album of Fats Domino. And he would be, you know, and back in those days, like in the 50s, 56, 57, 58, he was on television a lot.
Yes, yeah.
You know, playing I Found My Thrill. Dum, 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 dum. You know, and he'd be playing with all them diamonds on his finger. I don't know if they were diamonds or not, but his fingers were shining. And he would be singing that thing, and I tell you what, I would put that album on, and she'll put it on for me, and I sit in my little rocking chair, and I just be rocking, listening to some Fats Domino. But he was the first influence, really, for me as a child. You know, coming up with the rhythm and blues. That's
right.
what the 50s and 60s was.
Yes.
You know, and as I got older, then I began to like folk. I had like Odetta. You had Joan Baez, the Mamas and the Papas. You know, I always liked songs that were saying something.
Yes.
See, and even with rhythm and blues, you know, Gladys Knight. Well, don't you know that I heard it through the grapevine? They were telling stories.
Yes.
You know, they weren't just singing stuff.
I dig it.
They were telling stories. So, you know, I enjoyed Gladys Knight. I enjoyed Nina Simone, Leslie Uggams, Nancy Wilson was one of my dear. You know, these are singers.
Right.
You know, I enjoyed them. But then I liked, on the other hand, I liked Linda Ronstadt.
Yes.
You know? So I have this mixture of music that just inspired me. You know, along with the people that I was hanging with that encouraged me to keep doing it. You know?
Yeah, strong foundation.
Buddy Ledbelly, you know, hey, I remember getting one of his music books, and I pulled it out just the other day because Robert E. Mosley did the movie.
Yes.
And it was something that after looking at that movie again, I heard that I had never heard before. Because, you know, Lomax wanted to take Huddy's music and just put it in the Smithsonian.
Right.
And Ledbelly said, I don't know how true it is, I'm looking at the movie. Ledbelly said, when I get out of here, I'm going to sing my own music. My music ain't going to be stored up in no building nowhere. See? And that's what he wanted his music to be about.
Right.
See? So I do a few Huddy Ledbelly tunes, and I like knowing his history. I like knowing the history of Elizabeth Cotton.
Oh, yeah.
These people that really made an impact, you know,
Mm-hmm.
on the music. But you know what?
What?
You don't hear much blacks talking about Ledbelly,
No.
you know, or Elizabeth Cotton.
No.
Because that's really, that's Southern blues. That's country. That's, you know, that's not in the realm of what they want to hear.
Right.
But you know, the majority of the audience that like that stuff is white folks.
Yeah. You know,
But you know what? I do my best when I perform in the community to tell the people, come on out, listen to me, come on out and support me. And they do, the ones
good.
that can.
Yes,
They come out. But I really relish the ones that got it all started.
absolutely,
I really
absolutely.
do.
Especially at the time and era of America,
Yes,
they were faced with a
yes.
lot.
We
You
need
know,
it more so. We need some recognition as far as to ourselves. It's like I don't know how to do it and how we can bring acknowledgement more to African American folk blues. It's so important to keep it alive, and that's what I'm trying to do, Lamont.
that's what you're doing.
That's my purpose. I ain't trying, I'm doing it. My daughter says, stop using the word try.
That's right.
She said, you're doing it.
Because you are.
I say, okay.
So now, you like folk because you like telling stories. You got a Piedmont picking style.
Uh-huh.
What's the songwriting process like? Yours, that is.
When I write a song, a thought come in, and I really do my lyrics. Believe it or not, I do my lyrics and my music together.
Mm.
Yeah, I have to get that that sound and that rhythm all down, the notes all down together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I may not complete that song that day, but I have to have a thought on what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
What is it that I want to purvey? And then when I've got that down, then I got it going. Like I wrote a song, I'm a Good-Hearted Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been wanting to write a song about, the vision that I would have as a good man and how he would be.
Right.
And so I sat down and I said, okay, I'm a good-hearted woman, and I start writing it. And what a good song it is. I just love it.
That's what I'm talking about.
And you got to have that subject. And when you get that, for me, when I get that subject, and I began to get the feel of how I want that sound to be,
Mm-hmm.
I work it all together. I'll stop and I'll write the lyrics down a little bit, and then I get the notes and the chorus or whatever I'm playing. I put that all together,
Mm-hmm.
and I may just write one verse, and then get that chorus. When I can get that chorus down and got the one verse, then okay, I don't have to push myself to finish it.
Right.
That right then, I can go back to it a few hours later or the next day and complete it because I've already got it down. I've recorded how that rhythm supposed to be.
Mm.
Then I go back and I finish it. Now, there are some songs I've written at one sitting. Like I wrote a song, Going to the Water. I love the water.
Mm.
And I wanted to write a song about the water. And I sat down one day and I started writing it. And now the way I picked this is a pregio.
Really?
Now, yeah, and that's concentration for me. Because you know how that goes. Them fingers got to be moving constantly.
Oh, yeah.
And so I wrote a song about going to the water. And it kind of has a spiritual feel, But I basically sit down and I do it together. And I wrote that song in one sitting.
Mm.
Because I wanted to really get that completed. I liked that song. It had a heartfelt emotion to it that I didn't want to lose as I was writing it.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. And now, in your folk blues, I'm sure you incorporate some spirituals, because weren't you in a choir at one time?
Well, as I was coming up in school, I was. Never in the church choir. I love being out in the audience when it comes to church. Because for some reason I'm kind of animated, and and if things kind of get to going and rolling, I want to be part of it.
Dig it, dig it.
But I used to sing in the choir in school.
Mm.
But I love old spirituals. I every now and then I'll throw something in there for the audience. I don't want to go too far out there on them.
Right.
It's not like I'm a Rosetta Thorpe. That's all she did just about.
Yeah.
She played her guitar and did gospels, and that's what she was known for.
Right. Right.
But I think sometimes you can throw it in there and that'll be fine. But, this day and age, you can't do too much of that.
Right.
But if I was doing a workshop or something like that, I would definitely incorporate some old spiritual, whether they're a cappella or whether I'm playing the guitar.
Dig it, dig it. So now,
Yeah.
okay, so in June you got something coming up, and let's talk about your album, your latest album, and where it can be found.
The latest album is live at Gage Hall. I did a concert in Charleston, North Charleston rather, a few years ago. I haven't did one lately, and it was a live performance.
Mm.
And very good performance, if I must say myself. Full house and small venue, probably set 50 to 75 people.
Okay.
And it was so funny. This gentleman told me, he said, "Now, Veronika, when we have a break," he said, "don't feel bad if half the audience leaves, because that's what they do."
Okay.
I said, "Well, all right then." And guess what?
What?
Nobody left.
Mm.
So it was recorded live.
Mm.
And it's a really good album. It's got a conglomerate of my original music, plus some songs that the audience, people that buy it will recognize. But they can go to my website and buy that, VeronikaJackson.com. That's Veronika with a K-A, not a C-A.
Oh, right now.
Yes.
Get it straight, folks.
VeronikaJackson.com. Yes. And they can purchase it. They can purchase that one, plus they can purchase an album that I have, some folk, some blues, sometimes, which is a very good album that I recorded in Tampa, Florida, in a studio.
Well, I must just interject and say that is a great album.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. And you can get that off the website as well, yes?
Yes, you can.
And where else can the good people find you? Are you Twitter, Facebook, stuff like this?
Yes, basically Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, and my website would definitely keep you up on all that Veronika is doing. That's the best. I really like to sway people to my website. I know a lot of times Facebook and all that is there, but that's a social thing.
Right.
And I try to put out much as I can about my music on Facebook. But to really keep up on me and to see who I am and what I'm about, VeronikaJackson.com is the best place to find me.
Well, you heard it right here, y'all. Okay, now let's talk real quick about the folk music from the civil rights era. What is this about? That sounds great.
Oh, man, that ain't going to let nobody turn me around. You know, those are songs that encourage. That's what I'm talking about. We don't hear much of those kind of songs. They don't even have to be of the 60s era. But what's wrong with singing songs or writing songs that can encourage someone?
Right.
You know, and I did an event for a museum in Columbus, Georgia. And that event was an event that had the display of photography of the civil rights movement. And I was booked to perform the music of that era.
Wow.
And it was enjoyable. So you're singing songs that encourage. You're singing those songs that folk singers sung, like most of them was old spirituals.
Right, right.
And most of them were songs that, like, what is it? If I Had a Hammer,
Yes.
Or Wade in the Water,
Mm-hmm.
or, those style songs. And right now I can't think off the top of my head on the African American folk songs that kept them encouraged. Which, the way they kept them encouraged, they were spiritual songs.
They were. They were.
That's the only way they could stay encouraged. By singing those. But there are a lot of good folk songs back in the day that I can do and sing and incorporate. Like this one song, I really love it. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. Nina Simone.
That's right.
Man, that is a good song. You hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the truth.
So, when people see me perform, they getting all that. They getting culture, they getting country, they getting folk, they getting blues. When they come to me at a concert. But if I'm booked at a blues festival, it's got to be all blues.
But it's okay. It's okay.
But that's the neat part about it. I'm able to have that versatility because that's who I am.
That's right.
That's where all I come from. I come from folk. I come from blues. I come from spiritual. I come from country music.
Mm-hmm. I do.
These days I'm going to learn Dolly Parton's song, The Coat of Many Colors.
Okay, now.
That's a good song.
It is. It is.
That's a good song, but I have to put my twist to it, like your girl did when she did Dolly Parton's song, I'll Always Love You.
Right. Right.
In Houston.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's folk music. That's what I'm here for. That's why I'm here.
I hear you.
And people are enjoying it. They're enjoying it, and I'm enjoying doing it, Lamont. I really am.
And that's a blessing. That means you're lined up with the purpose. Well, I have to tell you, it's been an honor to sit here and talk about the blues and folk with you.
Well, I thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of your program. It's just been my pleasure, and it's done my heart good.
Good. And we have to do some more stuff in the future because this needs to be out there, and this just needs to be out there. And then when you have any, matter of fact, are you coming to New York anytime soon?
I had got booked in New York last year. I don't know if you've ever heard of Lenas Cafe, but that's in North New York, Saratoga area. And but it was getting more gigs to surround it.
Right.
What the key is, if I come I'm looking to come and just vacation up in there. I'm telling a friend, girl, we need to come up there and just hang out, see a musical, eat a fine meal, and enjoy New York City. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try to do that, even if it's just for fun.
I hear that.
Really,
right.
but I haven't as of yet. I think Guy Davis is up in that area, isn't he?
Guy Davis comes up here a lot. I think he's away right now.
Okay.
I think he's away right now. I actually went to the Lead Belly Fest where I'm surprised you wasn't there. You should have been there, but
I know. I seen that.
Guy Davis. Whoa.
Yeah, I seen that, and I thought, wow. I opened up for him. He came here a couple of years ago and had a couple of events, and I opened up for him. Yeah, so that was pretty good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's groovy.
Yes,
that's groovy.
Yes, and he's such a nice gentleman.
Absolutely.
He really is.
Again, it was really great rapping with you.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes. And to you folks out there listening, pay attention. I hope you had those notebooks out. We got to learn our history, reconnect with it, and appreciate the music and everything that goes with it, because if the song ain't got a story, song ain't talking about nothing.
That's correct.
All right.
Say that again.
Okay. So as y'all know, y'all been blues and we're talking about the blues. And if you don't do nothing, keep God first and keep on bluesing.